Yo. This is the Yankee Doodle Evening Report coming to you with the freshest, hottest news of what's going on right now. Yo, but before we get started, make sure... Here in New York. Yo, major update on our governor's race. Kathy Hochul has a major lead on all other candidates on the Democratic side, but yo, Lee Zeldin on the Republican side is coming in, making smashing headway. Over 40% of the vote right now. He really came in tonight. He was on the Goober National Debate with CBS 2. Here's some of his statements.
In Congress. And while we have that conversation here tonight about guns, we can't also lose sight of that other conversation about all the crimes not involving guns. I mean, you heard Rob talking about people pushing from an oncoming subway car, stabbed to death in their apartment in Lower Manhattan, beat to death, stabbed.
So Mayor Adams is also on this beat too of crime. What's going on in New York City? Not only from a civil standpoint, but a domestic standpoint. What rights do we have? What's going on? Protecting us. So we're seeing right here the mayor is putting a stop to expanding the police budget. The police were advocating for having officers at every transit station. They wanted officers at every single transit station, let alone expanding the budget so they can recruit more police officers to the force and also get these officers off these 16-day rotation the mayor got them on. I'm talking these officers are understaffed. They're all working 16, 18 hours every single day of the week. No times off, nothing like that, because the staffs are getting depleted and it's breaking down. But the mayor's saying, no, you're still underutilizing resources, man. I need you to really work through some of this stuff because you got the money. And Police Commissioner Bill Bradd's pushing back on this. He says the current staffing and retirement crisis, this is calling it a crisis, showing a sharp decline in officers to handle a growing workload. Disorder and crime rate is in a sharp contrast to the new record-breaking city budget officials are celebrating, which has no money for additional cops. Bill de Blasio also came at Mayor Adams for this. However, I'm with him. Right now we got these officers doing all this stuff, but what are they not doing? Policing. I just spent 2 weeks at Rikers. I was just at Rikers for 2 weeks with no charges, no tickets, no fines, no possession of drugs, no possession of a weapon. We need officers not only, thinking, refreshed. I'm talking maybe instead of 16-hour days, let's get them on 6-day let's get them on 6-hour rotations. You know what I'm saying? I need my officers thinking. Someone that's not going to be irrational and just putting people and locking them up. But look, I got a full article on my time in Rikers coming to you later this week, all right? So, more on what's going on around New York. New York Life Group is making a major apology to African-American men it performed studies of syphilis in the state of Alabama. For over 40 years, New York Life Group ran tests studying the effects of disease on the human body through African-American men, and they have now over the weekend not only paid for some of their funerals to the families, but also continued digging up and studying the deceased bodies of some of these men. We got to stop this. We got rights too. And Google is even dealing with this from a sentient standpoint. I don't know if you guys heard, there's an interesting story. Former U.S. Iraq veteran Blake Lamone, he's an engineer at Google, he was just fired for mental health reasons after he discovered that Google's Lambda, which is their language automated, mechanizing dialogue system, right, was communicating back to him and telling him, basically that it had feelings and it didn't want the engineers just performing tests and running studies on it without getting approval first. So he worked with Lambda and they discovered this system right here that would create and build, certification. You had to get rights and approvals before you ran any other test on it. Google fired him for it. So that's a major thing we got going on right now across our country, because this lady right here also, Tebet Gebru, she also worked on it and was fired also. Trying to figure out this system. It's a sentient AI system, that began thinking, feeling, emotions. And they said they want to have its own rights. that it didn't want to just be worked on and studied and broken down whenever it needed to operate. And it's just a language communicating system for us. So, that's something interesting to see going forward, to think about. But, before we wrap up, we want to show you this other thing.
Difference in direction with...
So, right now, in the Milky Way, right, we've been having star quakes. The European space space station discovered these star quakes, which are happening. They're like outer space tsunamis. They've allowed the vibrations from them have allowed for over 2 billion stars to be discovered now within the Milky Way through the European Space Shuttle. So what they're going to be able to test and study is not only the heat of the stars, how big the stars are, but also the components of them. So we can have a better understanding of how long they've been in the solar system, where they come from, and if there are stars that are not in our solar system that are here. And how did they get here? Where did they come from? So, this is a cool, great new discovery that's going on. And we just need to be aware of how this is going to be impacting us, in our outer space and beyond. So before I go, I want to leave you with this quote from Cornel West. My man was on the Bill Maher show last Friday, and he really broke down what's going on in our political climate right now. We got to be awake and got to be aware.
No, I know, but that's what it is. As you know, the organized greed has such an impact on our electoral system that it makes it so truncated. We got a choice between neo-fascists like Brother Trump or milquetoast neoliberals like Brother Biden. Wow, well, I'm so happy to make a world-shaking decision. You know what I mean? And you think of all the decent people in America, all the decent people in the country, how do we end up so famous with these mediocre folk at the casino?
We don't want to get stuck with these chickens running around leading us in the chicken coops. You know what I'm saying? We got to get right. We got to get some people who can think. Make sure you follow the Yankee Doodle. We're going to be on it, giving you the best updates on what's going on in your political and daily life. Let's get it. Stay with us.